my amplified unit. Salute. Unreal Episode 2, your amplified review is about to begin. The big Jey Uso Royal Rumble coverage. That's what really highlighted Unreal Episode 2. We'll talk about it, how they went around the writer's room, the war room, it is called, and everybody shouted out CM Punk should be who faces Gunther at WrestleMania. And it's markered. It's up there on the board. Helmsley is staring at a board that says CM Punk Gunther. It's already markered. It's penciled in. And Helmsley looks at this and he instantly thinks, there's no way CM Punk is grabbing my championship on the grandest stage of them all. I will not allow him to have that opportunity. He'll win it maybe later in the year, maybe SummerSlam, the second biggest event of the year. I'll allow that. Not at WrestleMania. So even though everybody was saying CM Punk, it's got to be CM Punk. And it's up there on the marker board because everybody knows it's got to be Punk and Gunther if you're not doing John Cena Gunther. If you're going Cena Cody, then Punk Gunther. If you're going Punk Cody, then it's Cena Gunther. But either way, that's the only flip-flop. Those are the two matches sitting in your lap. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't be too petty, Paul. But nope, he couldn't have CM Punk getting that championship in that match. So instead, he goes over to Jason Uso. He said, I'm gonna put the rocket on you, kid. I'm gonna put the rocket on you. And we go with Jason Uso. Meanwhile, Jey Uso cannot even get into the parking lot of the arena that he's wrestling in. Yeah, that happened on this episode. Parking lot attendant didn't have a clue who Jey Uso is. And that's the guy with all the superstardom that's gonna lead us into 2026 and beyond. That's the household name. That's the name and the face that everybody's supposed to be so recognizable. They couldn't tell Jey Uso. They thought he was an assistant to one of the wrestlers. They thought he was Tully Blanchard. We'll talk all about it. But Helmsley looked at that board and everybody had decided Punk, Gunther, Punk gets the championship at Mania. And Helmsley goes, no chance in hell. Petty Paul. We'll talk Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, and they were mapping everything out for their Royal Rumble match. Remember all that animosity and the brawl outside of Cody's RV, and then the pile driver. And then after the match, this show is just showing you how they're just good buddies. And then Owens is apologizing for, being a little too physical in some of the spots. Again, if you're an adult, then maybe it's no harm, no foul, right? Oh, it's a BC. The curtain's already been pulled back so much. Kayfabe has been pissed on, shit on, and recycled the process. But if you're a kid growing up and you really want to get, I mean, where's the magic, man? Where's the magic? We'll talk about it. It's all in episode 2. Before I get into this episode, there's a couple of things I do want to go over real quick. Number one, some details on the Vincent Kennedy McMahon accident in Connecticut. Now, maybe you guys don't know, Vince McMahon was involved in a crash early Thursday morning, and he's okay. The reports we're getting is that he was really on someone's bumper, really tailing them, and kind of up on it, and crashed his Bentley. A Bentley crashed into a B, and this is how you know it's a nice section of Connecticut. Crashed into a BMW. It was such a hard hit that they both went into the guardrail afterwards, and even a third car was involved because there was so much debris. So that car went over the debris. So 3 cars were affected by this. And McMahon was at fault. He got cited for reckless driving, and he's scheduled for court next month. Could you imagine Vincent Kennedy McMahon? You look in the rear view because a car's on your ass, and it's Vincent Kennedy McMahon at 10-2. And that face is right. Get out of the way, damn it. Get out of the way. I'll fire you. Vince McMahon just on you. Could you imagine? You look in the mirror, there's Vincent Kennedy. I'm trying to fathom how that would have went down, because Vince was clearly not happy with the slow driver. So he's on that ass. I don't know if he got brake checked or not. But anyway, That's the details on that, guys. He has been cited for reckless driving from what we're being told, latest reports. That is through TMZ. Believe it or not, TMZ is usually pretty damn accurate with their details. Now, here's what I find wild with this crash, is that happened Thursday morning between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Guys, that's exactly when the 911 call came in for Hulk Hogan's passing, or at least the cardiac arrest. That was between 9 a.m. and 10. How wild is that? Now, for those thinking that maybe Vince got word of that while he was driving and that caused the crash, well, no, because it wasn't made public, the Hogan passing, until past 11 a.m. So there's no way that could have been unless Vince was... I guess. Right after the cardiac call, they would have had to immediately have called Vince. I don't think he would be on the list of such priority. Like, they're in the middle of a cardiac arrest, call Vince. And then all of a sudden, he just crashes. I don't think that's the case. But it's just wild that between 9 and 10, Hogan goes into a cardiac arrest and Vincent Kennedy McMahon crashes his car. What are the chances of that, man? Those two have been intertwined like this throughout life. And such monumental events happen between in the same time period. That is just wild. That's wild to me. I don't know. But that's the time frame. That's the latest reports we're getting. These things happen pretty much bing bang. Wild, man. But Vince is all right. He's cited for reckless driving. We'll keep you updated on that. Second thing I do want to go over is, it's three things. Let me just go over something tied to that. Brooke Hogan is blasting WWE. Brooke Hogan, I guess, has been taking a lot of flack because she wasn't on that stage Monday with Nick Hogan, her brother. Bischoff was flown in. A bunch of individuals, people close to Hulk Hogan, celebrating Hulkamania and the career that he had. But there was no Brooke Hogan. Now, if you guys don't know, Brooke Hogan and her father, Terry Bollea, they've had their relationship was strained for many, many years. So maybe Helmsley and everybody at WWE just thought she would turn it down. You still have to offer it. If you know Nick is coming in, and I believe that Bischoff was asked, and Bischoff said, I think it'd be really cool if we bring in Nick, and they're like, of course. We didn't even think that they would want to right now because it's so close to his passing. So Nick is tied to Eric Bischoff really close with the Real American Beer brand. Nick Hogan is really instrumental in that whole company. Even more than Bischoff, I think, now. So, anyway, I don't think they really... I'm not hammering WWE too much for not inviting Brooke Hogan. I don't think that was like on their... I don't know. I'm not going to bash them for that, man. Brooke has not had complimentary things to say about her father or her mother. So I just think it was one of those last second things, and they're like, they don't think she would accept anyway. But I still do feel it would have been nice if they put out the invite. But anyway, Brooke Hogan's getting a lot of flack for this, obviously. You should have been up there. You should have taken the invite. Brooke Hogan is like, for those that are giving me flack for not being up there for my father on Monday night, just know WWE never gave me the invite. So totally put WWE on blast. I wasn't there because I was never invited. I didn't know about it. So that's tied to somehow we got in the Hogan thing with the Vince thing, because that happened right at the same time, basically, the car crash and Hogan's cardiac arrest. Might as well tell you the Brooke Hogan news as well. And then one more thing, and then we'll get into the Unreal episode. For anybody down in Florida or anybody traveling to Orlando, maybe you can get a weekend off this Halloween season. Down in Orlando at Universal Studios Orlando, and I think Hollywood as well. So if you're over in California, you're taking a trip over there, Universal Hollywood, there is a haunted house that's going to be a part of Halloween Horror Nights. It's a special themed event that they run over the course of a couple of months leading into Halloween, Orlando and Hollywood. It's called Halloween Horror Nights. Bray Wyatt makes his return as the Fiend with the Wyatt Six. It's a special haunted house called WWE Presents The Hauntings of the Wyatt Six, or The Horrors of the Wyatt Six, I believe. My bad. The Horrors of the Wyatt Six. And it's a haunted house along with 9 other houses, a couple of scare zones, so it's a really party atmosphere if you've never been to a Halloween Horror Nights. There's a couple of shows. They're adult themed. It's not for kids. They don't recommend anybody under the age of like 13, 14. So it's really adult oriented. Have your cold beverages, a party atmosphere. It's a real party for adults for the Halloween season. And again, several scare zones, so it's just a party all the way through the park. No matter where you're walking, it's a party atmosphere. Couple of shows, 10 haunted houses in totality, and one of them is for the Wyatt 6, headlined by Bray Wyatt. It's pretty cool. As you go through this haunted house, each character, Ramblin' Rabbit, Abby the Witch, all of them, Huskus the Pig, that'll be a funny one. They're all going to have their like separate part of the house. And through the whole walkthrough, the Fiend will be following behind. The Fiend, there's probably going to be many Fiends throughout these, so you're going to see a bunch of them. So if you're in Orlando, stop by and give that house give it some support, give it some love. Show Universal that they made the right decision, man, and they're really honoring Bray in the Fiend character, and it's pretty cool. So, and if you are going to take a trip out there, or maybe you weren't scheduled to, but you can take a few days off, go down there, hit up Universal Halloween Horror Nights, and check out that house, man. Show support to Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt 6. It's pretty cool. This is not the first time that HHN, Halloween Horror Nights, has worked with WWE, or that Universal has worked with WWE. 10 to 15 years ago, one of the two, either 2015 or maybe it was 2010, I don't know, but there was an Undertaker house. This was many, many years ago. So this is the second haunted house that Universal is dishing out. So anyway, thought that was definitely worth a mention. You guys know this channel was basically founded upon two individuals, Sasha Banks from back in the day and Bray Wyatt. Those were the two that really captivated BC. And when I started the channel, those were the two that really were just leaps and bounds above everybody else. So, yeah, it's pretty cool that they're still honoring Bray Wyatt in what a fun way. I try to go down there every year to Halloween Horror Nights. So for BC, it's even extra special. Pretty cool. All right, should we do this? It was a long opening monologue, but now let's get into it, man. Jason Uso is going to start this show, and you're not going to believe the disrespect. But can you blame the parking lot attendant? It's not like Hulkamania's riding through, bro. Brother. So, Jey Uso is driving into the arena. Parking lot attendant. Again, this is Unreal Episode 2, guys. Jey Uso's driving into the arena. Parking lot attendant has no idea who he is. Now, you have to go through them first. That's how you can get through. If you're not on the list, that's a problem. They have to call somebody else out. Now, usually the parking lot attendant, they put somebody out there that knows all the wrestlers. And these days, too, a lot of them even have not just a name, they have the face by it. So, you could see the face matching the face of what's on the paper, not just a name. But they'll always put somebody out there that knows all the wrestlers. So there's no like, who are you? There's no miscommunication, right? There's no mistakes that can be had. You're not insulting the talent. So Jey Uso's driving in. The parking lot attendant has no idea. He's stopping him. And he's like, no, Uso's like, I'm talent. He's like, yeah, but I'm looking for Mark Henry. Are you Mark Henry? I'm thinking, oh my God, Jey Uso just got called Mark Henry. Then he's like, what about Tully Blanchard? I'm looking for a Tully Blanchard. Yeah, does he look like Tully Blanchard? Steve Lee, I'm looking for Steve Levy. Are you any of the above? No, I'm D, option none of the above. I select D. And finally, I think he's able to get through, like somebody else vouched for him, or Jay goes, that's Mark Henry behind me. And he's like, can he vouch for you? And Jay's like, yeah, he can vouch for me. He's like, all right, you can go. And the look on Jey Uso's face, bro, he was not feeling oozy. He was not oozy at all. He was pissed off. Yeah, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, put the rocket on him. Put the rocket on him. It's bad. The guy, he's going through the parking lot with a hoodie. He's got the hoodie on. I'm not saying you got to be like Hulk Hogan and constantly wear red and yellow through airports and supermarkets so everyone's like, Hulk Hogan. But wow, he's like slumped down in the car with a hoodie. Is that really the Hulk Hogan of today's generation? Is that Stone Cold? Jason Yeaterman? He looks like a dude that maybe Sami Zayn just helped get a job with him at the local Home Depot. Some of these dudes just don't look like pro wrestlers, especially not main event. You can call yourself main event, but man, the look just doesn't match it. And the parking lot attendant asked him if he was like the assistant to one of the wrestlers, I believe. It was funny, but also sad. Like you did feel bad for Jey Uso. You did. Anyway, that's how this episode started, man. And what's funny too is right before that, he's like, they were talking about like how he's got the rocket now, and he's like, yeah, they're gonna notice me now, Oos. And the first thing they do is they come across a dude who has no idea who Jey Uso is, never seen him. Just didn't put two and two together. It was funny, bro. Put the rocket on him, Helmsley, absolutely. And then we go into Cody and KO's story leading into the Royal Rumble. And this is the writer's room, what we call the war room in the NFL. 10 dudes around a table. They came up with KO and Cody fighting outside the tour bus and KO giving a pile driver to Cody. No shit. You guys remember back. Those were the two big story points, right? Those were the peak story points. The tour bus brawl. Kevin just started beating up Cody outside the tour bus. And the pile driver. What was that? After Saturday night's main event, I believe. 10 writers were around this boardroom table. 10 writers were coming up with this. 10 professional writers and a goofball ex-wrestler playing the role of Vince McMahon. But you throw that schmuck aside, you had 10 actual pro writers. And the best they came up with was a pile driver and the fight outside the tour bus. This is a kid with a coloring book and crayons could book that better. The Attitude Era had two dudes and a Vince. Two dudes and a Vince. Ferreira, Russo, and McMahon. That's the Attitude Era. And we had cement trucks, beer trucks, monster trucks, things exploding, things imploding. Wrestlers thrown off bridges, fighting in bars, supermarkets, on the roof, roofs of arenas. Now we have more writers than ever, and we're in the least creative era of all time. Even the gimmick era, which was after the golden era, the gimmick era was more fun than this. And more creative. And that's when wrestlers were called Body Donnas, Doink the Clown, Duke the Dumpster Drosy carried a trash can with him. TJ the Plumber Hopper carried a plunger with him to the ring. The Godwins, a couple of farmers carrying a pail of slop. I would take that in a snap of a finger, blink of an eye, and a heartbeat over what we have today. Because you have more writers than ever before. And what are we getting? It takes 10 individuals and a guy trying to be Vince McMahon at the head of the table. And they're there for hours. And this is what they came up with. What if they brawl outside the tour bus, and then what we'll do is we'll do the pile driver. And then they're like, not on the show, though. That would make the show actually fun, maybe, right? That would be a talking point. We don't want the show to be talked about. After the show, we'll go for a viral moment. They'll be like, whoa, did you see the pile driver after the show? That's what they were doing in the writing room, man, for going into the Royal Rumble. That's the best they came up with. I couldn't imagine that. A real writer who's got some free reign to really get creative by themselves, they would come up with something better than that, obviously. Oh, and this is good. Oh, this is great, and I mean that so sarcastically. We go back to, or should I say stay in the writer's room, where Helmsley asks everybody, who does everyone see winning the Royal Rumble? I'll probably have this, I'll have the team put this as a thumbnail more than likely. Everybody says Punk, or nearly everybody says Punk. Everybody, Punk, 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 Punk. You'll see the photo. I'll probably make that the thumbnail. That's what make sure of it. That is going to be now that I think about it. And we didn't put the Punk that was on the show, like Punk, 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 but everybody's just saying it. Because it's obvious. If you're not going to have John Cena, and then he clearly goes on to take Gunther's championship, then it's CM Punk. There's nobody else. That's it. LA Knight, but he refuses. Helmsley refuses to push LA Knight. Even though he was proven to be not a flash in the pan. Still with immaculate reactions, he just never got even a piece of the rocket. So it's Punk. In fact, guys, I'll take it a step further. If you really zoom in on the shot when they were all in the writer's room, and you zoom into the marker board, you can see that it's already in pencil. It's already markered. CM Punk versus Gunther is what everybody already had. So he's just asking again, and everyone's like, yeah, Punk. It's on the board. It's all penciled in. You got Cody Cena. You got Seth Rollins and Roman, so it's not this weird triple threat for no reason and nothing on the line, which is what it became. And you have CM Punk versus Gunther. It's right there on the board. Boom. Don't overcomplicate it. It's sitting in your lap. Those are the money matches. Let's go. Just tell great stories. And you're there. We all know it was supposed to be Punk or Cena, no matter which way you flip it. Even if you wanted to go Punk Cody, because they had a little promo before the Rumble, and it worked. And Helmsley never went back to it. He had no plan. He's just like, have a promo with Punk and Cody, and I have no plan after that. And we never revisited that. Never. They just had Cena turn heel. Had I known it was going to be this awful, I wouldn't have been as excited when he did. But even if you're going CM Punk, okay, CM Punk and Cody, then you would go Cena and Gunther to get his 17th chip. Either way, you're going to flip it either way, but it's those four dudes that have to have the match. Cody, Cena, Punk, Gunther, in any which way you format it. But they tried to get too cute, and Helmsley instead goes, no, there's no way that I can have CM Punk winning that championship on the grandest stage. That's what he's thinking. Because it's already on the board. You just asked everybody in the room again, they said Punk. And instead, he goes over to Jey Uso backstage when this meeting is done, and he pulls Jey Uso aside. He goes, I've got a second. I'm gonna put the rocket on you. I'm gonna put the whole rocket on you. Instead of Punk, or even Cena, he chooses to go Jason Yeaterman. And then we go a couple minutes of Helmsley and Mike P.S. Hayes talking about Jey being up for the task. Is Jey going to be up for the task? Because now they have to make sure that they can handle that spot. They went 2 minutes on this. They're like, just choosing who we're going to put the rocket on is only half the battle. Now we have to make sure that they can handle it because they know a lot goes into it. And you got to be up for all of it. How'd that work out? Guys, it was only days. A week tops before you saw. He was not ready for that. Some people call themselves main event. Some people actually are main event. They were asking themselves, they were questioning themselves and second guessing themselves because they know they saw a lot of red flags. Jason Uso clearly doesn't hit the gym or not often enough. That's clear. So the cardio's out, all of that. On this show, Jey was talking about the Royal Rumble. I think it was the 2024 one. He was just talking about cardio. He was blown up in like the first few minutes. He gets blown up trying to cut a promo. He's blown up after they stop dancing and eating. He's blown up. He's never been one for promos, and he's supposed to be the guy. It wasn't long after, just a few weeks, he tried to do the over the top. He tried to fly over the top. He got hung up. He almost landed on his dome piece. Doesn't do that anymore. Now he goes through the ropes. He was exhausted. What did his father say? Just a few weeks later, they all went out to dinner, and his father, Rikishi, said publicly, last time I saw Jey, the dude just looked exhausted. At that point, he had already been champ a month or two tops. He hasn't even seen the media tours he's going to have to go on with that championship and to literally be the main event, not just call yourself the main event. Jey Uso, unfortunately, and if you're new to the channel, I said it a billion times, my favorite tag team was the Usos. Them together, just a phenomenal tag team, I felt. Separately, Jey Uso in a singles run, bro, as an IC champion is beyond forgettable. But if you want all the yeeting and all the kids to be like, Jey Uso, then put him in the mid card with the IC champion. I don't know what to tell you. But him winning the Royal Rumble over John Cena and CM Punk is not just laughable, it's completely pathetic. And now we can play the Monday morning quarterback. Now everybody sees it. But I was saying it from day one When nobody wanted to hear it, nobody wanted to believe it. We were just going to believe that Jey could pull it off and that WWE would give him really good booking too. Neither was going to happen, and neither happened. And I called it from day one. I ain't gonna give myself a pat on the fucking back. I want people to realize the decisions this company makes time and time again is asinine, and that Helmsley is the worst person for the job and the role that he is currently in. If you make a call like that, CM Punk or John Cena, who wins, and you come up with Jey Uso, you should be removed from your position. And how did that work out? Jey Uso doesn't have the championship anymore. He's once again playing second fiddle to Roman Reigns, and it's CM Punk who's going to get the title from Gunther at SummerSlam. They're trying to make up for what they didn't do at WrestleMania, but now it's on a lesser stage, so Helmsley feels better about this because he can't stand Punk. Did you guys hear my first review of Unreal Episode 1? Did you hear what Helmsley admitted? It was him that told Vince he's not ready. CM Punk is not ready to come back when they had that meeting. And he got ghosted. That's what CM Punk said. They ghosted me. No, they didn't. Helmsley made sure that you were ghosted. And Helmsley blocked CM Punk's return years ago. He said, no, Vince, he's the same guy. Absolutely not. He's not coming back. It's not your call. Vince was in charge at that point. Why were you even there? Get out. It's an A-B conversation. See yourself out. But no, he had to be there to cock block CM Punk, just like Helmsley cock blocked Test and China and R-Truth and Booker T and a million other wrestlers through his career. That's what he does. So now we're going to get the consolation prize. You're going to see Punk win the title at SummerSlam when we should have had that at WrestleMania. But at least you got the yeet. And that's if he lets CM Punk even win the title at SummerSlam. Knowing Helmsley, you never know, man. What? Come here, Punk. I just wanted to talk to you. What if we didn't give you the title here, man? In the future, for sure. But what if we just kind of play up Gunther a little bit more? You gonna be okay with that? You never know with this dude. But if Punk wins it this weekend at SummerSlam, like he should, it's still only a consolation prize. He should have been in the main event winning the title. Instead, he was in the main event, and it was laughable. It was a triple threat with Rollins and Roman for no reason. There was nothing on the line. There was just three dudes wrestling, acting like they have the biggest feud ever, when they don't. Roman was upset with Punk because Punk eliminated him at the Royal Rumble. Wow, I need to see that in the main event in a triple threat. Add in Rollins. Do you see how Helmsley single-handedly screwed WrestleMania because of his ego, his stubbornness, and his hatred for CM Punk Phil Brooks? It was already on the board. Everybody said Punk. And Helmsley said, no, what about Jey Uso? I'm going to give him a rock. I'm going to give you the rocket, kid. I'm going to give you the rocket, okay? The full rocket. We just got to make sure you can handle the rocket. 2 weeks later, Daddy Uso, man, he's exhausted, man. Can you guys ease up on my kid? He's exhausted. That was the writer's room. I could not believe it, man. It's right there. Everybody agreed on Punk except for one person, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. How'd that work out for you? We then see Codithan Rhodes backstage. Well, it was Cody and Kevin Owens, right? This was after, right? Is that after or before? We see Cody go backstage after, yes, after winning the ladder match over Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. That was their ladder match. Now, KO is seated on the floor backstage, and he's bloodied from their match. And KO and Cody are just going over the match that they just had. Well, I mean, we're hearing everything. So they just had the match, and the cameras are picking up, and Owens is apologizing profusely to Cody. Oh, I'm sorry, man. The ladder, I was too close to it, and that's why I had to do it the way that I did it. And Cody's like, oh, don't worry, man. I could have done this. It was just such a bromance going on right after the match. You know, Kevin pile drove him and the fight outside the tour bus. And here they are just exchanging pleasantries. I was waiting for the Hallmark cards to come out and the Christmas invitations. It was one of those moments while I was watching where I truly felt, and I felt like this in episode 1, if you guys saw that review that I put up yesterday, you know that it was just one of those moments while I'm watching this series, while I'm watching this episode, that I really felt, wow, the magic is gone. Like, I really felt the magic is gone. Like, it may seem cool to see those interactions, right? If you're like an adult, if you're over the age of 12, 13, whatever, right, it may be cool. Oh, BC, I don't see any problem with this, man. It's kind of cool to see them, like, kind of like the match is over, the show's off the air, and it's kind of cool to see them in their element as friends. For a moment, I can see where, okay, that's cool. Okay, long term, subconsciously, you can't forget that shit. It takes the magic away. If you're an adult, okay, no harm, no foul, BC, you're seeing them as they truly are, friends. Cool. Now, think back, I would ask you. Think back to what made you fall in love with pro wrestling. That's how I would rebuttal that statement, right? BC, it's not a real issue, man. I mean, they came back, they're just showing their friendship. It's all a show. Okay, think back to what made you fall in love with pro wrestling. The larger-than-life wrestlers, more than likely. The storylines that you were captivated by and you could literally suspend disbelief. I call it suspending belief. Suspending reality and entering the wild world of wrestling. And you could do that weeks, months, years, because some feuds deserve that time. Right? I mean, you followed along because you could suspend the fact that it's just a story. And these are characters. And pro wrestling, unlike acting or anything else, man, you could suspend it a little more than other entities. That's what more than likely made you fall in love with pro wrestling. The magic. I mean, these days, how can you even get into something that you're semi-interested in? A feud or a story and you're really... I mean, you want to be into it, but you can't get out of your dome piece all the bullshit that has already went into it. You already know subconsciously all of the inner workings. And it just takes you out of it, especially if you're younger. I could not imagine watching the Mega Powers implode, Macho Man and Hogan, and all of a sudden, like the next day, I'm seeing everything that went into it, and I'm seeing them just like having a couple cold ones together. Macho Man, oh, they're just buddy. I mean, I couldn't imagine that. By the time you got to WrestleMania 5, I wouldn't be that into the match. Rock and Stone Cold had such a great feud. I couldn't imagine Rock throwing Stone Cold off that bridge. And then that night, an episode airs where they're like talking about everything that went into it. Man, I didn't mean to throw you like that because then the stunt double almost got caught up. I couldn't believe that, man. You good though, right? Let's go get a cold one, man. And you just watched it. I couldn't imagine watching pro wrestling today like these kids have to. Thank goodness that most of us, we had magic with pro wrestling growing up, man. Because now the show is now just the show about the show. Guys, there's a clip that played. Either it was last night or maybe it's not even in my notes. It was a quick clip. Or maybe it is in my notes, but for episode 3. Maybe this was in episode 3. But I'm going to spill it now just for the context of this conversation. And I forgot what the conversation was pertaining to, but Gunther and CM Punk, there was a bunch of wrestlers around, and Punk and Gunther were just shooting the shit like nothing, like good buddies. And they're laughing and talking. And guys, they have a match this weekend for the championship. They've been involved in a war of words. And you want to be into it. You know it's scripted. I don't like using the F word, fake, but it's scripted. It's predetermined. We get it. You don't want to constantly be beaten over the dome piece with that fact. You don't need to be constantly reminded. I mean, we're watching Gunther and CM Punk in this series, just being good old buddies. And now we got to go watch them wrestle and the animosity that they have this weekend. Not even a movie. And wrestling is different than Hollywood anyway, but not even in a movie would you want to see the behind the scenes before you watch the movie. Like normally you'd watch the movie and then you'd watch like the behind the scenes or the bloopers. That's you. I mean, normally you just don't watch bloopers and behind the scenes and then watch the movie. But with a show like this, because wrestling is so unique, that's what you get sometimes. You see all the buddies, and it doesn't matter if you're face, heel, what your character is supposed to be, the feud you're supposed to be in. Everybody's buddies. It's all a show. But we got to get back into character because this week we need your money because you have to see CM Punk versus Gunther. They're bitter enemies. It's just so stupid, man. Again, I still remember everything vividly from Beyond the Mat, which was a documentary many, many years ago. And I still remember just Rock and Mankind going over their match. So now every time, especially I see like No Holds Barred or street fights or anything like that, I instantly go back to them planning it out. We shouldn't have to do that as fans. I want to be invested in the moment. Even watching Anarchy in the Arena, I kept thinking about Rock and Mankind planning their shit out. And I'm like, oh, I bet you Jackson just planned that out perfectly with Claudio. Or I bet you Claudio probably had to do it this way. No, we shouldn't have to do that. But this show is going to make us do that in the future. It's going to be hard to watch matches now and not think about you guys saw my review in episode 1. The producers called the whole match from the back. I mean, try watching wrestling matches now and not think like, oh yeah, every fucking move basically is to a T that the producer is calling or taking out. You don't want to think of that. So I know some of this may seem cool. Oh, it's just a show, no harm, no foul. But I would ask, think about when you were growing up, man. Think about the magic that made you fall in love with pro wrestling. Still think it's not a big deal? Maybe for you. But I really do feel bad because I know I would not want any of this growing up, man. Just exposing every little bit. But that's what you got, man. Yesterday we saw a lot of talk of before they went into the match. In this episode, you saw a lot of KO and Cody talking about all the spots and everything after the match. And Cody KO is apologizing to Cody, and it's wild, man. And then the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble. This is where Jey Uso gets the rocket. So a completely staged entry where Helmsley and Steph McMahon tell Speed that he's in the Royal Rumble. That's right. There was a whole segment and they staged it. It was so stupid. He's right there in Gorilla with nobody else. It's just Steph and Helmsley. And they think they were just inviting him to hear the crowd and behind the curtain? I have no idea. And this dude is so over dramatic. I don't know I don't know what a Speed is. I guess he's maybe a popular YouTuber for all I know. But they tell him last second they have Tozawa get beat up in the aisleway. So poor Tozawa didn't even have to gear up. Could have stayed in whatever he got to the arena in, and he was only going to take a few punches, and then he was escorted out. And then Speed takes his place. And Helmsley and Steph McMahon are pushing him out there. And he's all dramatic. No, what? I can't do this. No. It's like, oh, so over dramatic, man. I'm like, oh my God. Just throw him into the ring or just off the roof, whatever you got to do. But please, somebody put Tozawa back in there. Did that happen to R-Truth one year? I think it was Nia Jax took him out and Nia took his place. But so Speed goes out there. He only lasted a couple. I forgot. Maybe he lasted a while. I don't know. But he got thrown out, and he got his leg gashed. Like a piece of his leg was missing, and he's already over dramatic, mind you. That's why I bring that up. So when he goes to the back, you think the dude's dying. I mean, everyone's like, "You good, man? You good?" Because it's just a gash. Wrestlers have seen that a million times in his leg too. It's not like he got hit with a tranquilizer in the heart. Relax. But he's looking at he can't even speak. He's like. And he's limping around. He's like he's about to just croak from a cardiac arrest. Like, what are you doing, man? You could talk to people. He goes by Helmsley. Helmsley's just looking at Helmsley. Doesn't even say anything. He's like, dude, I tore both my quads. But no, that was Vince, right? Both his quads at the same time. But Helmsley did tear a quad and kept wrestling. So he's just like, all right, you got a gash. But this dude looks like, I don't know. The whole thing was just so weird. We could have done without this freaking segment. And the staged pushing out of Speed. He's just screaming the whole time like a Dixie chick. Then we see the whole Jey Uso Rumble victory. And Helmsley feeds us this bullshit. When it's time, you just go with it. You just got to know, man, if somebody needs the rocket. When somebody's getting that response. Yeah? LA Knight would like a word with you. LA Knight, what are you talking about? Your whole thing is you just got to make sure it's not a flash in the pan, right? Well, LA Knight showed you for 2 years he's not a flash in the pan. Still got the responses he was getting right up to the Royal Rumble. Why? Because you had a hand in the yeet. That's what this is all about. It's the ego. Jay did something, some of the crowd reacted to it, and Helmsley's like, that's it, man. Do that more. And he really wanted it to get over. You see it in this show. He tells production to stay on it and the cameraman to stay on he really wants this to get over more than anybody because it's part of his idea. He loves that. If he doesn't have a hand in you organically, if you get over organically, he wants nothing to do with you. Hence, LA Knight. So if you're not going to go John Cena and you're not going to go CM Punk to win this Rumble, LA Knight would have been the only other option. Was Drew McIntyre in there? But he wouldn't fit in with Gunther or Cody, man. Not in that situation. LA Knight. But no, he goes Jason Yeaterman. And he says when it's time, you just go with it. LA Knight's time, it wasn't any time within that time frame? It's a bunch of bullshit. And this was just a cock block CM Punk. This was CM Punk's. This was his. I'm not even a big CM Punk fan. We've had our odds. You guys know that when he was shitting on the business when he left for 10 years, and I just didn't like it. So I made sure that he felt it right back. But dude, I'll be the first to admit this was Punk's Rumble, if not Cena. And the final two was Cena, and so Cena's got to win it, and then Punk's got to win the chamber. This is not complicated unless you make it complicated. And this dude just anoints Jason Uso, and then Jason Uso after that just gets magical powers, because he lost to Gunther before the Rumble, a week before at Saturday night's main event. And then all of a sudden he makes this wild decision to put the rocket on him. So then he gains superpowers and he starts stealing everybody's move. Now he can spear everybody and knock them out. He stole Roman's spear. Now he's got probably doing the Superman punch too. He's got Gunther's choke, literally tapped out Gunther in 8 seconds to his own move at Mania. He just takes everybody's move. Promos were horrendous. His wrestling diminished while he was a singles wrestler and a champion, world champion. His skills diminished. His promos, he was blown up by the time the dancing stopped and the eating. To the point where even Helmsley had to take the title off of him. And it looks like we're just going to redo what should have been done. Not redo. What should have been done at Mania. It looks like we're getting it now because he realized he fucked up. And this is probably his way to go, see, everyone relax. This was the end goal. SummerSlam? CM Punk beating Gunther for the title at SummerSlam is bigger than CM Punk beating Gunther at WrestleMania? You want to have your little yeet experiment because kids are going out of their minds yeeting, and you want Jason Yeaterman to pick up kids and pat them on the head, that's fine. He didn't need to be a world champion and win Rumbles and WrestleManias for that. And that was the episode. Jey Uso wins and Helmsley's trying to stroke his own ego. When it's time, you just know you put the rocket on him. And, that's Jey Uso. To which I just say again, how'd that work out? Ratings went backwards. Arenas, they can't consistently sell out. They had to take it off of him in 2 months. And he's right back to being Roman's side chick. And that's the episode. This brought up some pro wrestling PTSD, reliving Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. A Rumble with John Cena and CM Punk, and Yeaterman is who they chose. And now you know why Helmsley needs to be removed for a billion decisions that he has made. And that is episode 2 of Unreal, the Amplified Review. Until next time. And there will be that next time, unit. Episode 3 of Unreal, the Amplified Review. Top of the morning. Hopefully we'll have that pretty early on Thursday morning. That is the plan. And possibly a double upload tomorrow. Episode 4's review later in the afternoon. So stay locked on the channel. Subscribe, notified. You guys know the deal. Until next time, there will be that next time. 44 dive. That's a wrap. BC saying check you. Salut.